My name is Mal Fleming. I am here to assist in your passage. Can you remember your name and the circumstances of your death?
Josephine Johnson. The term is pulmonary embolism. You heard of it?
I don't believe so, no.
It's when a little blockage moves to your lungs can't get any oxygen, and that's it. No warning. Out like a light switch. I was cooking dinner. I tried to turn the gas off, but pretty sure they found me before the building burned down. Took a while to figure out exactly what had happened. Had to hound some dead doctors, the recently deceased, mind you. The older ones love to diagnose hysteria. Originally, I thought it was a meteor strike or poison. Not that anyone would have wanted to poison me. It could happen to anyone. Completely random. Terrifying, no?
Of course.
Dying with no warning at all. Dying while interviewing a ghost. A good premise in that somewhere. Would need a little twist, though. It's the shrug of it all that's really terrifying, though. The lack of a good ending. That the person writing your story is a hack. No, not even a hack. A hack would have given the ending a little oomph. That your author just got bored and didn't even finish. Or maybe he's a modernist, trying to write a story that's just as meaningless as real life. I'm not a modernist, Mal.
You were also known as A.R. Baker, correct? Should I call you A.R.? Would you prefer that?
A.R. Baker was a pen name. I'm not faded enough that I don't know the difference. Call me Ms. Johnson. Did you research that yourself?
My predecessor left me a few notes, disorganized and incomplete as they may be. From what I could gather, not many of the magazines your work appeared in have been digitized.
I was too early. Or too late. No, too early.
Would it be helpful if you talked a bit more about your life?
No. It's a series of anthropological reports, right? Of alien civilizations, every one of them dead. The fur predators of Yagvel 5, all consumed in a mass ritual sacrifice, each ripping out the other's throats until there was only one left who died of old age decades later. The six-limbed amphibians of Greater Garlock, their world sea poisoned with industrial runoff, making breeding impossible. The tiny cat-like creatures of the Barley asteroid belt, all killed with an engineered plague that made their organs dissolve out of their skin. You follow?
I believe so.
Each alien civilization is different, but every one of them died out from some sort of world-spanning conflict or alien-made catastrophe. As you read the anthropological reports, you get a sense of the culture that's writing the reports. It's cold, almost dismissive of them, as if they knew that there was no way the civilizations could succeed. The culture has difficulty with singular pronouns, refers to everything as they, even if it's a singular creature. A suspicion starts to form in the back of the reader's mind, and then the final anthropological report. Humans of Sol system wiped out from nuclear conflict, caste systems simultaneously clear yet ill-defined, no obvious mark of sentience. The dominant species on the planet, the cockroach, is promising. Perhaps we can contact them in 400 years.
Was that one of your stories?
It was an idea for one. I'd written the ending for it. I like to write the endings first most of the time. Helps to know where you're going. Gives the story momentum. It still needed work. All the best twists are things that the reader already knows but can't quite put into words. It can't come out of nowhere. Are you a fan?
Of twists?
Of science fiction. Horror. The fantastical. Genre, you could call it.
I have no objection to it.
All right.
I apologize. I've always been more interested in actual history and the story of people's real lives. I guess you could say I've found more than enough fantastical elements in them to keep me satisfied.
See, that's the thing with people's actual lives. I didn't spend most of my time living my actual life. Maybe I'm an outlier, but I'm not sure. The other spirits, the boring ones at least, they always want to know where you lived, where you worked, who you got married to, but I didn't live in Bed-Stuy. I lived in my head.
You did live in Bed-Stuy, though, from the records.
That's not the point.
I know,
Spend too much time with the facts and you'll become a bore. Have you ever read Nightfall?
I can't say that I have. Is it a novel?
An Asimov short story. It's about a planet that has 6 suns, so it's always daylight. And when there's an eclipse, civilization ends in madness and fire, not because of the darkness, but because of all the stars they can see in the firmament. That's the very short version of it, but trust me, it's extraordinary.
It sounds interesting.
Reading it was like seeing all those tens of thousands of stars in the night sky. I was 13. Perfect age, really, for a thing like that. From that moment on, I spent most of my life in my head, dreaming up worlds, and then, eventually, writing them down.
As A.R. Baker.
You didn't have to meet your editors back then. Didn't even have to talk to them over the phone. Everything was letters sent back and forth, a river of words. A.R. Baker sounded authoritative, middle-aged, male, white.
You had 2 stories published in Astounding Science Fiction. Did you correspond with John Campbell at all? Did he...
I find this incredibly boring, Mal. In the future, every middle-class family has their own personal robotic servant. It cleans their house, types for them, does all the work they're too good for. A lonely clerk has a crush on the daughter of his boss, but he's tongue-tied, too nervous to say anything. He thinks about writing her a letter, telling her what he feels, leaving it on her desk, but every time he does, he tells his robot servant to crumple it up, until he decides to just let the robot butler write it for him. The robots have a limited sort of sentience, and he just needs something this will have to do. He leaves it on her desk, waits in fevered anticipation for a few days, and then, on his desk, a letter from the object of his affection. She's asking him to send another letter to tell her more about himself, but once again he's too nervous to do it, so the robot writes another letter, and it goes on like this, love letters back and forth until... Can you guess the end, Mal?
The clerk, the boss's daughter, falls in love with the robot.
No. They meet up, and they have nothing to say to each other. It turns out that she had her own robotic maid that was writing her responses. It's been 2 robots expressing things their owners never could.
And do the robots end up together?
No. I end it on the 2 cowards, the clerk and the daughter, unable to tell each other how they feel, implying that they never will. If I'd sent it in, that part probably would have been edited. They'd want a bit more punch in the ending.
Do you think the story has any resonance with your own life?
What do you want from me, Mal? Do you want my pithy bio? Family moved to Brooklyn for the war jobs. Fell in love with science fiction. Decided to write my own stories. Worked a series of menial secretary jobs so I could spend my mornings typing away. Kept people at a distance because I needed to focus. Because I knew that my stories would have to be undeniable. Is that what you want?
What I want, Miss Johnson, is to assist in your passage.
Mal, I am still here because I did not have enough time to write what I needed to write. Because there are stories in my head and notes still in my apartment. Octavia Butler lived for 58 years. Le Guin didn't start publishing until the 60s. James Tiptree, I'm not saying they lived in an easier time, or even that I would have been a better writer than any of them. I'm not that arrogant, just the small arrogance any writer needs to have, but...
apologize for the question, but how did you read someone like Octavia Butler, dying when you did?
Of course that's what you focus on. Caldwell, your predecessor, would leave books on my headstone if I asked him, as a reward for being good. I can absorb them into me now, consuming the books whole. Caldwell said it changed how I looked, like I was made of the text itself. Is that how I still appear, Mal?
Yes, like words on paper. Caldwell's notes on you are a bit... He mentions that you attempted to contact the living.
He brought me books when I was good. I wasn't always good. But, Mal, who wouldn't want a muse? Someone to whisper ideas into their head, someone to take a sledgehammer to all those petty pieces of wood damming up their voice, someone to do the actual work of writing for them. So many people want to be writers. They're in love with the idea of writing, but the writing itself, it's difficult. You give away a little piece of yourself to the page. It's so much easier to let me in.
Ah. I must admit, Caldwell's notes are a bit less clear than I would have liked.
I only tried it on one person. An MFA student. Family money that made sure his education was taken care of. Liked to walk Greybriar. Thought it would give him inspiration. Little did he know. A small bit of talent, but no desire, no burning need to write. A boring mediocrity. But other than that, promising. White. He was even handsome in that approachable way that makes everyone so much more willing to hear whatever shit drips out of your mouth. And, like I said, family money.
Miss Johnson, we don't need to talk about this if it's difficult or unrelated to your passage. I would very much like to assist in your passage.
It didn't work. It was like a flood on fallow earth. He couldn't handle all of the ideas. It washed a lot of him away. No more books on my tombstone from Caldwell after that, not until I swore that I wouldn't do anything like that ever again. But I haven't promised you anything, have I, Mal?
No, you have not.
There's a library on a space station. It's vast, the size of an asteroid. Hundreds of custodians live there. Their ancestors have maintained the library, and so are their children, on and on until the end of time. They can't read any of the books. They know enough to catalog, but letters are just symbols to them, devoid of meaning. Until one custodian, he decides to try and decipher one of the books. This is forbidden, of course, so he has to do it at night, when no one can see him. But he's special, one of those rare geniuses that comes along once every 100 years. It's difficult. The written language bears little relation to the language they use to speak. It takes him his entire life, but he does it. He understands what the books say. He's been curious. It's been consuming him. What do the books say? Are they proclamations, legends, biographies, stories? What?
And?
Agricultural data. Grain yields of countless planets. A redundant backup for some minor accountant. The translator, this historical genius, dies on the spot without letting any other custodian know he has a heart attack.
Or a pulmonary embolism.
No, he dies of shock. It's a heart attack.
What can I do to assist in your passage, Miss Johnson?
You could let me write stories through you. You seem like you would have a far stronger spirit than the average MFA student.
I don't believe that would be helpful, Miss Johnson.
Why not? The stories would be good. I promise you they'd be good. And you'd get all the recognition. I don't need any. I just need my stories out in the world.
I have no interest in recognition, Miss Johnson. What I'm interested in is in assisting your passage.
Good luck, Mal. That's the thing, isn't it? You can cajole, you can beg, you can threaten, but you can't make me go when I'm not ready to.
I could try, Miss Johnson.
How do you figure that?
I could tell you a story about how the world's forgotten you completely. That no one would care if, by some miracle, a few of your notes survived. How even if you managed to possess someone and get your stories written down, no one would care. The world you were writing for has moved on, and so should you. Because I think that if that story felt true, you wouldn't be able to remain in the Greybriar. Your spirit would simply not stand it. You would have to pass through the onyx door. But that would be cruel, and I would prefer not to do that.
How very kind of you. And it's an interesting theory. But I don't think you would believe that story.
The question is whether I could make you believe it. Perhaps I could.
I don't know. How good of a storyteller are you?
Compared to you? I'm not sure.
Caldwell never gave me Parable of the Talents. It's one of Octavia Butler's. You could put it on my gravestone. I'd promise to be good.
And I would have to trust that?
Caldwell tried a fair number of times to get me to pass on. He never succeeded. You're new. You can't win them all. And you can always come back.
If I could find your notes?
It would be much appreciated. A man enters old age. He's a rich man, a captain of industry, with a large family and holdings throughout the world. And, like all rich men, he thinks that, perhaps, he can use his wealth to cheat death. So he funds doctors, companies, medical researchers, drugs that are supposed to arrest aging, surgeries that will replace failing organs, yogic exercises to unlock the body's natural regenerative properties. All he finds is failure. The man is obsessed with this, spending all his time sifting through proposals, documents, neglecting his family. Not that he was ever an especially doting father. He is a rich man, after all, until someone, a computer scientist, proposes something completely different. They will use the latest supercomputer to make a copy of his brain, every thought, every dream, his entire personality. And then, using electrical discharge, they will rewrite the brain of a young man, someone in a coma, so that this young man will now be the old man. It's not immortality exactly, but it's something very close to it. The old man is getting older and older, so he agrees. His family are aghast. They thought that the quest for immortality was a harmless frivolity, one that would perhaps extend his life for a year or two, if that, but now they see he could actually achieve it. They beg him to reconsider. But the old man ignores his family. They never understood him, the work and toil it took to become rich. The old man, on his deathbed, agrees to the procedure. It's painful. The electric shock as his brain is copied, but the old man dies because, remember, he's just copying himself, not truly extending his life. The old man dies knowing that his consciousness will live forever. And then...
Yes?
The copy of the old man wakes up. Not in the body of a young man, but in the computer. He's fully aware, knows what's happening, but it's all a white void of his own thoughts. He is unable to communicate, unable to reach the outside world, unable to do anything except think. He waits to be copied into his new body, but nothing happens. He waits for minutes, hours, days, weeks, months. Time is impossible to measure with only your thoughts. And then the old man, or the copy of the old man, realizes that his family didn't want him to live forever. That they wouldn't receive their inheritance if he lived forever, that the scientist could easily have been bribed, or perhaps he should have paid more attention to the longing glances between the scientist and his granddaughter. No matter, he knows that this is how he will spend the rest of his existence, in a prison of thought, unable to move, unable to affect the world, unable to do anything meaningful. And the rest of his existence could be a very, very long time.
Do you feel that way, Miss Johnson?
Of course not, Mal. It's just a story. Then again, most everything is.
Understood. I'll leave some novels on your headstone.
I would appreciate that.
You've been listening to Conversations with Ghosts, a Dead Signals production. For complete cast and crew credits, check out our website at conversationswithghosts.com. Dead Signals is an independent operation, and we're supported by our patrons. If you like what you hear and want to support the work we do, go to patreon.com/archive81 to sign up. You'll get a bunch of fun extras, including behind-the-scenes Q&As, music, and access to the first podcast Mark and I ever made together. That's patreon.com/archive81. As always, thanks for listening.